We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
Hey, hi everybody. This is Roger in Kansas City, and today we're going to take a look at The Truman Show. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. A movie made in 1998 starring Jim Carrey and other people. It's about a guy that has grown up in a world where he is the star of a TV show, and everybody in that world is in on it except for him. He believes that is his true world that he lives in, and that's the gist of it. If you haven't seen it, I think it's a fun movie and entertaining movie, except for after you see this, you're going to think, well, maybe I shouldn't watch this movie because of the things that are hidden within it. Well, I'm of the opinion once you show these things in the light of day, it neutralizes their effect, and therefore they will not have the detrimental effect I think was the intent behind it. I hope that's clear. So, and one other thing, this you will see goes hand in hand with my last video, Giant Demons Invade Hollywood. You will soon see why. So here we go. Okay, let me set this up. First, let me say that, again, this video is for the purposes of reporting on, commentary, and research, and is not subject to copyright infringement laws. Well, let's see if that works. Okay, so the next 12 seconds coming up, this is where the scene is. Let me know if you see it.
To you now from Sea Haven Island, enclosed in the largest studio ever constructed, and along with the Great Wall of China, one of only two man-made structures visible from space, now in its 30th great year.
All right, did you see it? Well, if you didn't, let's look at it one more time, and then we'll take a closer look at things.
To you now from Sea Haven Island, enclosed in the largest studio ever constructed, and along with the Great Wall of China, one of only two man-made structures visible from space, now in its 30th great year.
Okay, so if you didn't see it, I totally understand. It's a little fast. So we're going to go through it again, and I'm going to freeze frame it in certain areas, and then we'll look at some close-up images. Here we go.
To you now from Sea Haven Island, enclosed in the largest
Okay, so we're heading out to the dome.
studio ever constructed.
There's the guy getting in the dome.
And along
I'm starting and stopping.
Great Wall of China, one of only two man-made.
Okay, right there. This area all through here. Now, it's moving pretty fast, but we're going to look at close-ups of this area. Let's continue.
Structures visible from
I know this bar is in the way right now, but underneath the Hollywood sign just a little bit.
space,
Then this view from space here,
now in its 30th
and then
great
wait till you get a load of this. But this area here, where the dome is, that's supposedly covering up the area where the show is being filmed, is right next to Hollywood, because you saw the Hollywood sign. So okay, there it is. Let's go ahead and look at the close-ups. All right. Before I get started, the first thing that came to mind was, on such a short scene, why would you need any detail other than, maybe a few things to add a little realism, but it's going so fast and moving out so quickly, you're not going to see anything anyway. So why go to the expense and time to add anything? And I guess if I were a producer or a director or had some sort of monetary involvement, I'd be interested as into why we're spending a lot of money on a 12-second piece of a movie. Well, okay, that being said, we're going to look a little closer here in a second, but you can see where we are. Here's the Hollywood sign, and here we have all this stuff. There's the dome, but you can start to see, well, this isn't just shrubbery back here, but these look like little, well, some sort of maybe reptilian looking little beings all along through here. All right, let's take a closer look. So moving in a little more closely, we can see what appears to be an entity of some sort right here. And let me use my marker. Seems like the marker was well received by a number of individuals in my last video. But we can see here's his, what appears to be a face, an eye, this fleshy thing off the back of the head, which is very common and normal on these entities. We have these little faces all down here. Now I'm glad they added all this detail, because the movie would not have been nearly as good without it. We have a lot of just odd detail that's been added, like over here. These are, I know they're blurry, and I hear this a lot. Well, it's blurry. Yeah, it's blurry because it's tiny and I'm blowing it up as big as I can without totally losing detail, but that's just how it is. This is supposed to be hidden. You were never supposed to see this. Let's go in a little bit closer. And there he is again. Here's our guy. And you know, and that it just gets me that they go to this trouble, and I don't think this is an actual photograph. It looks very much like a piece of artwork that someone spent some time working on. And you can see this guy here. Here's his head. Here's his body, but his arm right here, and it's like he's holding a little staff with a flag on it. Oh, who's that? Let's go to our next picture. So we have moved to the right just a little bit, and we can see these, what appear to be entities of some sort, standing on the hillside here by the dome. And why are they here? I've given some thought to this, and maybe it's not so much a subliminal image as to affect the viewer, but maybe it's there to let the powers that control Hollywood know that they are being honored and recognized in this production. It's reasonable to assume that much of the cast, or almost everybody involved in this, would not even know that this is there, except for probably just a few individuals. Let's look a little bit more closely at some of these characters. Here they are again. You can see what appear to be eyes on this big-headed guy here. Here's an individual here, and throughout here, and a little bit closer. That'll just about do it. But you can see we have this guy here, the big-headed guy, this, and this. Let's go to our next photo. This is directly beneath the sign. Here's one of the O's, but you can plainly see these guys right here. What are they doing there? They're in the Truman Show. That's what they're doing. They're movie stars. So we have this. Appears to be a profile face here. Another separate type of entity looking thing here and here. And then we have all this down here. Well, I think that sums it all up for around the sign. Let's move out to our first scene from outer space. As the camera continues to pull away from the Hollywood sign, we start to get a big overview of the dome, but up close here to the dome, and I thought this was worth keeping. It's a little ghostly and again blurry, but again a lot of detail. What I don't know if these are structures. These are not houses around Hollywood, because you can see almost being like people standing around. But then you have things like this and this. Again, it's nondescript. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Let's look at the next one. Okay, this is good. As the camera pans out, there's the dome, but we have these figures with their superimposed into the dome. And let me color this up a little bit. But you can see that we have these faces, and this is just a small example, and it's almost like an arm reaching out, but it's all throughout this sequence, and it's just probably a second or so. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the big picture at the end, because I think this is amazing what's coming up. So here we are at the final picture as the camera pans out and they're showing the dome from space. You know, I have worked with this photo for off and on for a couple of months, and so help me, I only found this last night, and it just blew me away. I'm like, oh my God. And it made so much sense. Wait till you see this. Okay, so we pulled out, there's the dome, and I really tried very hard to see on Google Earth how this would fit, and it never quite matched up. I'm like, what is wrong with this? What is wrong with this? And finally, here's what happened. You see where Truman's picture is right here? Watch what happens when I do this. That's the actual way it should look. They inverted the picture. Now, I hope that hits a lot of you right off the bat. If it doesn't, let me explain this very quickly. Inversion is like one of the main things that Satanists love to do. They invert just about everything. And they inverted this picture. So here's the inverted picture, how it shows up in the movie. Here's how it would look like on a map. And let me show you the map. There's the map. You see this dock area, all this stuff down here? Well, there it is right there. Inverted, it's over here. Let me go to another photo. So here's both pictures together. The one where the picture of Truman is on the right, that's the movie version. This is the actual way it should look. And please note this again, this area here with this swoop of the coastline. Let's go to the map. Here's the same area with the swoop of the coastline right here. Here's the inverted swoop of the coastline right there. So I think we have determined they have inverted the picture for nefarious reasons, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and look at another photo of this. So here's the picture as it should look in its proper inversion state. I debated on whether to show it as it's inverted in the movie or how it should be, and I went with how it should be because of my experience with in working with NASA and Mars photos and how much they invert that stuff. And once you turn it around to how it should be, it makes sense. You can see things much more plainly, and that's just how the human mind works. Okay, so we're going to start over here. I'm just going to point out that this large, I'm going to call it an obelisk, but it's not an obelisk. It's just a large upright thing, which I think in the real world would be miles high. It's also casting a shadow on the coast. I wonder if that's pointing at something right off the coast. I just thought of that. But you can see that this is some sort of surreal type of world. Or is it? Okay, so I'm going here for a minute. Is this an actual representation of what we really live in, but we're all just, I don't know, hypnotized and we see what we see? Okay, I said it. I'm going back to just normal now. We'll take a look at some of the close-ups. But let's start with this object here. And here we go. This picture came out pretty good. It's different from the others. The other pictures look like they're graphic drawings. This has a very three-dimensional effect to it and feel to it. Now, this could be CGI, it could be a model, it could be real. Here's that large thing I call the obelisk, but it's obviously not an obelisk, but it would be miles high, tens of miles. I don't think hundreds, but it could be. But then you see all these objects around it, like they're structures or beings. And it's always packed full like this in these pictures. So here we've got a guy here. Here we have this almost robot-looking man, kind of with this Frankenstein-looking head here. Here's the obelisk, and it has what appears to be two upright figures on the side. Like here's one and here's one. This looks like it's laying flat on the ground, like a drawing on the ground. Here we have structure here, a number of structures all over here. Have this guy here. Have this guy here. Have a guy here. One thing I hear often is people say, you didn't show this or that. Well, I don't see a lot of it until it comes out in the final product in its HD configuration on YouTube. Let's go to the next photo. This is the same area. I zoomed out some. You can see we have a large character here. You have this Eddie Munster looking guy right in here. Here's the obelisk. This almost appears to be structures. And oftentimes their structures have the shape of humanoids around them. Maybe they are humanoids. You have these big head-looking figures here. And this is indicative of what's in the entire picture. And I'm running a little long on this video, I know. So I'm going to cut it off here. This is not exclusive to the Truman Show in the least. It's in most movies, TV shows, commercials, and it's it's very surprising how much of this is in our media, visual media. And I'll be doing more of this. You could easily do a whole channel just on this subject. I was very surprised to have found this, but once you realize it's there, you can start to find it just about anywhere. Okay, I look forward to your comments. I think I'm done. Thank you for watching, This is Roger in Kansas City, and I will be talking to you soon. Bye-bye.